Hey everyone, how's it going? And welcome to Community Conversations. So this is an opportunity for you, the community, to hear from contributors in the internet computer ecosystem, as well as ask them questions live. Today, it is my great pleasure to introduce Brian and Josh Galler of IC3D NFT. Please give them a warm welcome, and thanks guys for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're excited.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So I think maybe a good place to get started is, why don't you both tell us a little bit about yourselves? How did you come to know about the internet computer?
Sure. I'll start. So I've been in buying crypto since 2017, but really didn't get into blockchain technology until the Genesis launch event, and was immediately sold on the internet computer. Just the technology and the potential for Web 3.0. I've been in IT for over 30 years, in software development specifically, all traditional tech stack software development. But for the last 20 years, also been in project management, program management, so leading software development teams. So I've got a technical background, and I am just I'm amazed at the potential of the internet computer and what Dfinity has developed and created. And I'm really excited about the future.
I'm Josh. I'm a junior in high school. I found out about the internet computer through him. I've been messing around with Blender for like about a year, just inconsistently, just kind of like making random stuff here and there. And then he came and he talked to me about making an NFT, and then we kind of just did it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love this. I love this father and son duo. They're gonna have to make some kind of NFT comic about you guys, in the metaverse. So Brian, you'd mentioned you've had this long and illustrious career in the tech industry. You've been trading crypto. So what is it about the IC or ICP that drew you in, really?
It's really the concept that it can serve web speed, right? It can serve websites, and it's certainly an option for Web 3.0 and a move into the metaverse. So I was in IT whenever the internet went from a text-based internet to the web, and that paradigm shift, it feels very, very similar to me right now, right? This move from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0, the community, the collaboration, the ingenuity, and it all feels very similar, and I felt very at home once I got into the IC community. So.
Cool. Well, it's great to have you here. And Josh, for you, I think it's so great that you're in high school and already exploring these emerging technologies such as the internet computer blockchain. And I'm super curious, among your friends and your peers, do people trade crypto? Do people buy NFTs? What's the general perception of everything?
Among my friends, crypto is it's very normal. A ton of kids trade crypto. Even
through Robinhood?
during class, they're
during class
trading crypto.
Wait, through Robinhood, or how are they trading?
Yeah, based through Robinhood.
What? That is so awesome. I love to hear that.
The internet computer is more niche. It's because most of them are just trading crypto for the money. It's not for the technology. So I'm not sure that the internet computer has reached high school students, but crypto definitely has, and it's not to the teachers yet. The teachers
teachers are hasn't penetrated their world yet.
Yeah, and a teacher asked him recently, what he was into, and so he tried to explain, and that he was selling art online is how he kind of started, and then tried to explain more, and yeah, they just didn't get it.
Yeah.
It's just like speaking Martian. And Josh, leak some alpha. What are these coins that your classmates are aping into?
Literally anything. I mean, it mainly started during the GameStop
Oh yeah, Wall Street bets and things like that.
That was kind of, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, that's super awesome. Like I mentioned, when we were talking earlier, I have a brother who's like around your age too, and he's also like super avid trader. He has like better portfolio returns than I do. And I'm like amazed to see it. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like generally speaking, for Americans, and I can only speak to America, I think there's like a very high degree of like very low degree of financial literacy overall. And I think with like younger generations, this is rapidly starting to change. And I think partially due to like the gamification and memification, to be honest, of investing and trading. So super cool to hear it. And Brian, you mentioned you have experience with other sort of like crypto platforms. Have you bought or traded or minted NFTs on other platforms outside of the internet computer?
Yeah, not outside of the internet computer. I did use Hazel's picture thingy early on, and did mint a picture that I took. I'm an avid backpacker, and I've got a cool picture of a grizzly that I minted using that. So
Oh my
that was pretty
gosh.
cool.
That is super, super cool. Yeah, just in general, it's like, how like, our parents have like photo albums and things like that, but they're subject to the degradation of age. In the
Yeah,
future, like the thing that I think is so crazy about NFTs, and I talked about this on one of my community conversations earlier this week, is that historians 1,000 years from now, they're going to be able to look at NFTs and find them exactly as the original creator or original buyer saw them. And they're able to see like exactly where they came from, exactly where it's gone. It looks exactly the same. And it's like so like archaeologically interesting to me, or anthropologically interesting. And we're
yeah,
like leaving this like, like real time, like photographic and video record. So I wonder what
yeah,
historians will say about us, a
yeah,
thousand or
yeah,
2,000 years down the line. But you guys
yeah.
are
It's
definitely on
exciting.
the cutting edge. Yeah, super, super, super exciting stuff. So I know that you guys have some big news, so I'll cut right to the chase. Why don't you guys tell us about IC3D NFTs? What are you guys working on? What are you guys most excited about?
Sure, sure. So we'll talk a little bit about what IC3D or IC Ghost is, what the IC Ghost NFT scenes are. It's really a combination of 6 different 3D NFTs. So first of all, they're interactive, and we'll actually show everybody here in just in a little bit a demo of that. And so they're interactive. You can play with them, and so it's 6 3D NFTs brought together. There's a landscape. There's obviously the ghost avatar, and the ghost has a hat with glasses, and then there's also 2 additional scene items in the scene as well. And so all of those things are individually a 3D NFT that are brought together. They'll be able to rotate, pan, and zoom the 3D scene, as well as trade each individually item or NFT separately on the marketplace. So if you don't like the hat that the ghost has and you want to get a different hat, you can go and get a different hat and swap those out. So it's really wearables for a 3D NFT. We've got we've got 164 different total variables in the NFT scene. So there's like 73 different variations of the ghost, between colors and the face and whatnot. 44 different hats. We've got a ball cap. We've got an 8-year gang hat.
Well,
You've
well,
seen,
well.
yeah,
Okay.
you've seen
Okay.
that.
I have.
And
Yeah, that's very cute.
yeah, so we've got well I'll just drop it now. The community already knows. We will be have merch. We'll have an 8-year gang hat
Oh my God.
merch. So for
Oh,
people who get an 8-year gang hat in their NFT, sometime at a later date, we will actually drop them a new NFT, just a text-based, a text NFT with a redemption code, and they'll be able to take that redemption code to our merch store and get themselves a real 8-year gang hat
that
for that.
Oh, I love that so much. It's like bridging the physical and the digital. It's like
Yeah,
It's so cool. It's like when people, some like Bored Ape owners, they'll have like they'll like dress up like their Bored Ape, like take photos like next to their avatar. So I love that so much. And what I love about what you guys are doing specifically is the composability of NFTs, because we talk about this metaverse like this like unending like digital fabric, but as it stands, I think a lot of NFTs like across all ecosystems are pretty fragmented, right? Like if I have a Bored Ape and if I have a CryptoPunk, it's not like they're chilling in the same like metaverse space. So with what you guys are building, IC3D NFT, do you envision like all of these IC projects and like NFT projects coming together in 3D form, occupying the same space?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've built IC Ghost based on an industry standard. It's not a standard that we developed. We're really using a 3D model standard that's pretty widely used. So first of all, any future NFT that we do, will be built on the same standard, and people will be able to bring that 3D NFT into their IC Ghost scene, right? Add it to that, as well as any future 3D creators that are using the same standard. People will be able to take a different creator's 3D NFT and combine it with our scene items as well. So it really starts to, it's very, very collaborative, and people can start to create their own NFT collection all together, right, in a scene. So it's pretty exciting.
No, it's all super, super exciting stuff. So, first ghosts, and you guys are launching when exactly? For those in the audience who might not be aware.
Friday.
Wow,
And
Friday, what time?
I think it's 1 Eastern time. I believe it's
Okay.
1 Eastern.
I'll have to mark my calendar. And how many ghosts are there like in supply for this initial launch?
Yeah, so the total mint count will be 10,000.
Wow, okay.
10,000 scenes. So that's the other thing we should explain is with 10. So they'll come in scenes. So you'll buy a scene. So that's 6 items. So really, what's happening is it's a launch of 60,000 NFTs, 3D NFTs, right? With six items in each scene. So it's also it's the largest NFT release, on the IC so far. But they'll come in scenes. And so, but there'll be 7,000 for sale on the market. The other 3,000 supply we've been using for collaborations with other teams to do giveaways, and we'll be doing a big airdrop. I won't say where, but or through what, but
let the speculation begin.
Yeah, let the speculation begin. There's a big airdrop, and so yeah.
Hey, that's awesome. So what are you guys thinking going forward? I know it's one step at a time, first the launch on Friday, and then, I'm sure you guys have other, tricks up the sleeve. Like, what are you guys thinking? Like, what's the big vision? Like, what do you hope to accomplish through this project?
Yeah, so since you mentioned vision, we are collaborating with Visions, the creator of IC emojis. And so imagine if an IC emoji was to evolve into another dimension, maybe the 3rd dimension. How cool would that be? So yeah, we're working with Visions to turn the IC emojis into 3D. So maybe we'll start dropping some sneak peeks here.
That's so interesting. So does that mean, is that like a new collection, or does it mean if I already own an IC emoji, it means that I am able to like see it in this 3D space that you guys have created?
Yeah, it's a new collection. So it'll be a completely new collection. The plan is right now that we'll drop them in batches of 20. So we'll do 20 of the IC emojis first in one collection, and then another 20, and then another 20. Spread out a little bit. But we got some cool stuff planned for those. So like I said, we'll start dropping some sneak peeks. We're pretty excited about it. It's a really cool collaboration. We love what Visions does. Actually, Visions has done a lot of our promotional material as well. So we've been working with him. So
Totally. So multifaceted. I also love like the logos that have been created by Vision, like super, super, super cool.
yeah.
So for these like 3D IC emojis made in collaboration with you guys, are they still going to be operable in the IC emojis game, or is there going to be like a separate game that comes out? Like how does it all, fit in together?
Yeah, we're talking about a separate game, so we don't have that all fleshed out yet. But maybe some sort of battler kind of game.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
That's
so certainly 3D, but yeah, a separate game.
That's really cool. And I feel like a nice little tie-in maybe between like the 2D versus 3D concept or first game versus second game is that maybe the second is like an evolution of some sort, kind of like in a Pokemon style. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, no, I really, really love that. Like everything that you guys are doing. And how did you guys come up with this like ghost concept initially? Is it because Motoko's from Ghost in the Shell, or is it something else?
It was completely sort of random. I'll let you tell the story.
I mean, he just kind of came to me and he was like, "Hey, you should make an NFT." And I was like, "What is that?" And he explained it to me, and I don't know. I was just playing around in Blender, and I just found that, I guess.
Yeah, it was just an avatar he was playing around with, and so I want to do a ghost, and from there it just it really it wasn't even, yeah, it just evolved. It's kind of the whole thing. It's just really sort of evolved kind of organically and naturally. It wasn't even really connected to Halloween originally. We made that connection. We made that connection after he started developing it out. We kind of both felt like, well, shoot, Halloween's coming up.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
need to connect. We need to connect this, and that
Fate.
actually put us
It's just fate.
that actually put us under a little pressure time wise, right? Because then we were like, oh, now we have a deadline to hit, right? And it's not a movable deadline. We can't move
Right,
Halloween.
right.
So we connected that, and then because originally it was just the ghost avatar, and then it started to develop into, well, let's do something new. Let's push the envelope here, and let's do something beyond just 3D. Let's do 3D wearables, or the scenes. So it's really just evolved.
Wow. Okay, super cool. And how have you generated like these 10,000 scenes? Like, are you working with like a developer to be able to put this all together? Can you like do this in Blender somehow? I'm really interested in the mechanics of it.
Yeah, sure. So I'll let you explain what you do in Blender.
So basically in Blender, I'll make kind of the base object that all of its variations stem from. And then you make the variations like the color or the words on the gravestones. And then we have that all those files, and we sent it over to Tonic, and they are minting all of it with rarities and all that.
Yeah, so they'll pull from the base library that we gave them of objects. They'll build the scenes basically. So pull one object from each type. Landscape, hat, avatar, glasses, all that from one type.
Oh, okay.
And build and compose the scene and mint all of that for us.
Oh, wow.
So the collaboration with Tonic Labs has been great.
Oh yeah, Tonic is like unbelievable. It's like everybody on that team is so incredibly impressive. Like Nerf
Yes.
Bob, Steven, Andrews, Max, Steve, like everyone is just like, I feel so lucky to be working with all of them, so lucky that they're part of our ecosystem. And so I'm currently working on this like NFT drop right now too. Won't spill too many details. It'll come out next week around Motoko. But having gone through this process like myself, I now have like a renewed appreciation for what all of these NFT teams are doing in the space, right? Because let me tell you, it is not freaking easy.
It is
A lot of late
not.
nights. It is like I take nothing for granted. So even details that I think for people might seem like minor, such as rarity score, are really difficult, right? Because it's like, we have this art, but we also are trying to create like an ecosystem with value. For you guys, how did you determine like what items or like backgrounds were rare versus common?
A lot of math.
Really?
Yeah, in some ways, like the 8-year gang hat, right? We just kind of picked how rare do we want that to be, right? We want there to be enough of them that 8-year gang can get a hat. But we didn't
Right.
necessarily want there to be 10,000 8-year gang hats, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so it
sure.
was really kind of going through each item and just giving some thought to how rare should this item be.
Yeah, no, completely. But yeah, it's like, yeah, like I mentioned, there's just like so much like planning and so much like execution that's involved with these kinds of things. So I also wanted to say like big thanks to you guys because, Josh, you're in school. Brian, you have like a lot of other stuff going on. So it's really not easy, I think, to do this, after work or after school or whatever it might be. So I also wanted to ask you guys, like within the context of the IC NFT ecosystem, what other projects are you most inspired and excited by? And what other collaborations do you hope to have in the future?
Yeah, so I really got involved with the IC in the ICP Maximalist network. That's really so I don't even remember how I got there, but somehow
Me too.
I
I
found
just
my I
appeared
found
there
my
one
way
day.
to yeah I found my way to the ICP Maximalist network and just felt at home immediately. I loved that the channel was not a lot of price talk, and all of that. It was all about building the ecosystem. How can we make the ecosystem grow, and how can we solve tough problems, right? So there's some technical talk there as well. So with my technical background, I really enjoyed that. And by getting involved in the community there, I became an ICPM ambassador, which is an incredible group of people that all come from so many different diverse backgrounds. And so as a group, we are trying to help various projects throughout the community be successful, right? And so one of the things that that I've tried to do is, with my project management background, is to start to help people think about project management concepts. So I wrote a couple of articles up on the IC.community hub. So that's where the ICPMN articles are. We post those up there. So I've written a couple of articles up there about project management and team building and whatnot. I've helped a couple of teams. So I've worked with the IC Apes team. I've worked with
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I worked with them before they became public. The Meme Cake team, I worked with them before they became public. The Meme Cake team actually and so this is what's so great about the IC is the collaboration. The Meme Cake team developed a prototype of the renderer, the 3D renderer that Metonic Labs is looking to integrate. And so that was a really cool collaboration with them, because it was it wasn't even on their roadmap at all, right? It was something that they pitched in and helped out with, and I see that a lot in the community, is people just jumping in to help out. And then obviously, so also involved with the Wild and West team. So Abraham from Wild and West team, he and I have actually started up a video podcast called Blockchain Mavericks, where we'll be interviewing various guests in the ecosystem and trying to get in some current event stuff as well. So that's pretty exciting. So I don't know.
Oh,
Those are
wow.
some of the
Cool.
highlights that yeah.
Yep.
So first things first, I didn't realize that you had podcast. Is it already up? And what platform are you guys streaming on?
Yeah, so I think the first episode dropped. It was actually with Bob Bodley
Oh,
from Tonic. The
okay.
first
Yeah,
episode, I think
such a
it dropped
fan.
last. I haven't even. I mean, I was there, but I haven't seen the drop yet. So I think it dropped last night, or maybe this
Okay.
morning. So it's up on
Okay.
YouTube, and we
Okay.
plan to
Yeah.
take the audio of that as well and push that out to to different audio podcast
Cool.
platforms as
Oh,
well.
wow.
So we want to bring some attention to the IC, and also bring in people from outside, right? And so that's something that I've actually actually want to do, I don't know if you remember or not, I contacted you about user groups, right? Support for user groups.
Right. Yeah.
And it's something that I wanted to do here. I'm from St. Louis, and something I wanted to do here is to get more information out about the internet computer, and started reaching out to technical folks. All of my connections in the IT world, most of them are all traditional tech stack. And I am finding it challenging to get traditional tech stack developers to come to the blockchain, and any blockchain, not just the internet computer. So that's another one of my passions, is to try to bring more. We need developers. We need a lot of developers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I want to bring a lot of developers into the ecosystem if I can.
That's awesome. And, to your point, I do think we need more of these like on the ground ambassadors. I know there's like ambassadors and Telegram groups and so on and so forth, and that's like scalable and amazing. But I do think something about meeting someone in person, over a beer or pizza or whatever it might be, it's just like a connection that is like, I think, possible to grow over time online. I just think it's like, much faster to do it in person. So certainly if you or anybody who's listening in on this call want to do some kind of like local meetup, definitely DM me on Twitter. I'm at Wiz Wang. We're happy to like provide swag or resources or whatever it might be, because I agree. I think it's really hard to do this work on the ground, and particularly for people who might be used to a certain way of doing things or a certain way of thinking. It is not an easy task to do this sort of thing. I know that some of our developers at Dfinity, pre-pandemic, what they've done is that they've gone to some of like the local meetup groups for like WebAssembly, for example, because then I think that's like a bit of an easier sell, or something that's maybe like a Rust sort of like group. So there's already like Rust developers there. So there's like already some sort of commonality, but I agree. I think like just from like Square Zero carte blanche, it's like a difficult, I think, conversation to have. Yeah. So, what are your, like, so for the friends that you've like talked to about blockchain or the internet computer, what are like some of the issues or concerns that come to mind for them? I think that's also helpful feedback for us as we think about crafting our message and branding and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's probably largely just a lack of understanding of why, right? And I'm still working on why would they want to shift, right? Why would they want to make the transition? What's better about the blockchain? And that's something that I'm still trying to wrap my head around, is how to explain that in a way they understand, and that gets them excited about the problems that can be solved with blockchain, right? And so that's something that I'm still working on. But it's tools.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's this why would I take a technology that I've been learning for years, and kind of put that aside and learn something completely new. So
yeah, I think the thing that is sometimes challenging about nascent technologies is that obviously when you're used to like a certain frame of thinking, you think about use cases given the paradigm that you already know. So if you're comparing like a newer technology, the newer technology might have features that are better for new and different use cases, and not exactly applicable for old use cases. So a good example of this, I think, is like the transition from desktop to mobile. So do you remember like when we could first like access internet on mobile phones? It was so bad. It's like there's like no like there's no like mobile developers or designers. It's literally just like the web and this like tiny screen. It's like impossible to scroll. It's like impossible to click, like all this stuff. And people are like, okay, like why would we have the internet on a phone? This is like a worse experience. Like you don't even have a keyboard. I can't use Microsoft Excel on my phone. This is so stupid. And what people didn't account for is that there are totally new use cases that emerged, right? Like the combination of having the internet and having geolocation enabled services like Uber or like DoorDash or whatever. And I think, and also enabled, social networks such as Instagram to exist, because now you have like everything. You have the internet, you have a camera, you have like geolocation all in one thing. And I often feel the same way when I think about like use cases on the IC where people are like, oh, blockchain, it's like, more expensive than using AWS, or it's like slower than using blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, for me, I'm like, well, I think the use cases are going to be vastly, vastly different and probably like even unfathomable for us today if we were to fast forward, 5 or 10 years down the line. So that's what keeps me, motivated and keeps me my toes in the space. It's like you just don't know. You just like don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Every week is like moving at light speed in the crypto space.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, definitely. So, big picture, you guys are launching this really, really cool composable NFT project. Like what excites you the most about the possibilities of NFTs, gaming, and the metaverse? Like why did you choose to launch a project in this space?
Right. So we wanted to do we always want to continue to do new things, right? And push the envelope from a technology perspective for sure. And so that's where we got into the 3D space. We looked and on the IC, there was nobody doing 3D yet. So we said, yeah, 3D is where we want to go. Plus that's the metaverse, right? So that's our quest, right? We're on a quest to go into the metaverse, and we'll be collaborating with others. IC Gallery has got something. Wow, they've really brought some cool stuff, right? With the IC Gallery and the other rooms, the metaverse rooms that they're starting to add, and their moonwalkers. So we'll be collaborating with it's going to take a ton of collaboration. The metaverse can't be developed by one team or one company, right? The metaverse is a collaboration of everybody bringing things together. So we're really excited about the fact that the metaverse, we're going to have to populate the metaverse with things, right? And so in the US anyway, I know the estimate is something like every US home or a lot of US homes have something like 300,000 different items in them, right? We collect a lot of things. And I think as people start to move from the physical world into this virtual world and move into the metaverse, they're going to want things in their metaverse. And so we're looking to create things for your metaverse, right? And so maybe those are simple things like a pumpkin. We've got a pumpkin in the IC Ghost scene. Maybe you take that pumpkin and for Halloween, you put that on the porch of your virtual house in the metaverse, right? And so we're looking to create things for a virtual world.
I love that statistic, by the way. I didn't realize that everyone had so many. I'm like trying to count like all of the personal possessions I have. I like do not know how we could end up at 300,000, but I completely believe you on that quote. But yeah, just generally speaking, I think right now, like for a lot of people, it feels like NFTs are frothy, right? It's like, why did a Bored Ape sell yesterday on Sotheby's for $3.4 million? It's like, is it just like everyone's seen all of these like 10,000 generative animal kind of like PFP projects? But for me, it's like that's just like really the tip of the iceberg, right? Like we haven't even seen like full composability or interoperability of NFTs in the space. And certainly, like while I personally love art and music as a use case for NFTs because it brings in a lot of fresh blood into the space that normally wouldn't be interested in such like a technical concept like the blockchain. It's like, what does it hold? What does it mean for us in terms of business, in terms of identity, in terms of like all of these things where we can prove that something is a one of one? I think it'll completely change the way governments operate, business operate, how we interact with each other on a day-to-day level. But again, it's sort of like, looking back, it's hindsight is 2020, right? So looking back, like all of the steps seem like super obvious. And looking forward to the future, it's a bit murkier. But yeah, super cool what you guys are doing. So I think you had mentioned that you guys were planning a certain holiday themed collection in the future. Do you guys want to speak to that?
Yeah, sure. So after I See Ghosts, we've got the collaboration with Visions, and then after that, so we're shooting for a New Year's themed NFT. We're still brainstorming on exactly what that is, but we would like to, like I said, we want to continue to push the envelope on what people are doing. We've already started talking, some collaborations with some other teams about integrating music or tunes into 3D NFTs. So, you know, you've got a 3D NFT that plays some music. Also starting to make NFTs dynamic based on the owner's, you know, place on the globe, you know, what time zone they're in. So, you know, obviously for a New Year's themed NFT, we would, if there's a countdown, we wouldn't want that countdown to be unique for the time zone that the person, you know, viewing that NFT, you know, in their browser is in. So start to bring some dynamic capabilities to the 3D NFTs as well, and maybe even have things that, you know, the owner can set some attributes or some settings on their NFT. So start to gain more control of that. Something else that just came to mind that we really want to do as well is to start to give people more control over their NFT and being able to do different things with it. So give them the ability to download the file, the 3D model file that the NFT is based on, and then be able to do other creative things with that. So for example, an avatar, a 3D avatar, be able to download that 3D model file and bring that into some other 3D software and make their own videos or creations with that NFT, you know, 3D model, and let the community start to own their NFTs in a different way.
Yeah, that's super exciting. So for this particular drop then, with the ghosts coming on Friday, when I buy an NFT from IC3D NFTs, am I buying like the commercial rights as well? Like if I wanted to like put up a billboard with my ghost or like, you know, sell t-shirts, am I able to do that?
Yeah. They're theirs when you buy it. It's your NFT.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's because most people don't know this, but most NFT projects don't actually confer any rights. So you're not really like, you know what I mean? So you're kind of like buying like this like token standard, but you don't actually own the underlying rights to the art itself. So there have been like incidents on Twitter where an artist is like, whoa, you bought my NFT, but you're not allowed to print it even for your home. And people were like, wait, so what am I buying? You know, like that like literally doesn't make any sense.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we want the community to, like I said, we want the community to own that NFT and be able to really do things with it, right? And see where that evolves. You know, it's to some extent, it's kind of like a drip concept, right? Drop this thing out to the community and see where it goes, right? The community will do crazy cool things with it.
Definitely. So I know that the, you know, audience watching here might be curious to see some of the art that is to come. I don't know if you guys would mind doing like a little sneak preview of what's to come on Friday.
Yeah. Do that this time.
So this is just an example of what a buyer would see when they buy our NFTs. This is the scene. They'll be able to pan, zoom in and out. Each scene comes with 6 items, so no one's going to be like left out unless you take it out yourself. Ghost comes with glasses, hat, 2 scene items, and then we have 3 landscapes.
You can actually drag some others in. We can we'll give some different scenes. Go with 2, just different ones.
That is so cool. How did you make that background? Like, is that I know you guys like, you know, like outdoorsy stuff. Is that like a real mountain or something that you've been to?
No, it's not a real mountain.
Okay.
It's just a blender. You can make.
Wow, so cool.
Bottom, there's probably a desert. We'll show you all 3. I think we've got all 3 of the landscapes here.
That's super awesome.
Yeah, so here's the second one. This is a cave.
Wow, so spooky. I love it. Oh my gosh, is that a cat?
It is a cat. It is a cat.
Oh, I love black cats. That is so cute.
We have a desert landscape.
Oh my gosh, that is so amazing to see. And there are a bunch of like compliments coming in from the chat as well. Wow, that is super cool. So how long did it take for you guys to like create all of these individual components in Blender? Was that like the thing that took the most time of this project?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we started like what, I mean, a few months ago, probably by
Yeah,
now,
it's
but
been a few months in the working
Oh, wow.
for sure. So there
Wow.
was a lot leading up to it to get all of the assets created.
and a
Mhm.
lot of it was just the technical application of getting these actual 3D objects into finding out what standard we needed to use.
Okay, got it. And how did you land upon the specific standard that you're using currently for IC3D?
Yeah, just really research into what other people were doing, what kind of standards had been created, and how 3D models were being rendered on the web, right? So that's the important thing. It needed to be something that was performant.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
so we came up, if anybody's interested, it's the GLTF standard.
Mhm.
And so these files are GLB files. It's really bringing that 3D model into a combination of JSON as well as binary files, for like the texture files and things like that. And it's real performant for web.
This is so I actually just do all
Yeah.
of them say RIP Google?
No,
Not all of them.
we've got LinkedIn. We've got Google. What else do we do? We did,
that one's Google.
I think all of these might be Google, but
Oh
yeah,
my gosh. That
like
is
4 or
actually
5
so
different ones.
yeah, we've got 4 or 5 different big tech
Yeah,
gravestones.
all of these examples are
okay. That is so savage. I love that. So, if someone buys one of these landscapes, so you guys are like zooming in and you're like flipping around the landscape. Are we able to do that too once we like have purchased the NFT?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
That as well as so each of the individual items are tradable, right? So if you want a different gravestone, if you wanted a LinkedIn gravestone instead, and you could buy that on the secondary market, somebody wants to sell theirs and swap it out initially. So that's initially, and then in a future software release, we'll add the capability to be able to individually edit these scenes, the objects in the scene. So if you wanted the Google tombstone to be somewhere else in this scene, you could move it. You could also resize it,
Wow. Okay.
or rotate it. So each of the individual items will eventually be editable by the owner as well. So like I said, we're looking to try to give NFT owners really way more control over their NFT. So the other cool thing about this is, in terms of the rarities, is if the Google tombstone is less rare than some other tombstone, you could really go buy a less rare tombstone and put that into your scene and really just change the rarity of your scene,
Yeah.
the total
Oh,
composite of
wow.
your scene, right?
Right.
So you have more control over that as well.
Wow, that is so cool. And are you guys like ever gonna create like a game so it's like my ghost can meet your ghost and we can like, you know what I mean? We can like, I think it'd be cool to create like a collaborative scene where it's like kind of like Minecraft, where it's like we're building like our own thing in this like shared space together.
Yeah, like I said, the metaverse is really our quest.
Mhm.
This is this is a lot about the metaverse. We have to start someplace though, right? We have to solve some
Oh,
technical
100%.
challenges. We have
Totally.
to solve some technical challenges before we can get there. And so we're starting small, right? So we're starting with, okay, how do we do 3D, on the IC? How do we, how do we make them interchangeable? How do we get some standards based there? Then how do we bring these things into a game? Then how do we bring these things into a metaverse? So certainly that's our vision, is to get there. Josh is really keen on the idea of some sort of social hub, to kind of
Right.
start out our metaverse experiences, some sort of social hub, kind of like what you were describing, and maybe portals into different portions of the metaverse, right? So maybe we have a portal in our portion of the metaverse that connects people into the IC gallery, or other metaverse.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that is so
here's a
cool.
Facebook. Yeah, so we've got a Facebook zone as well.
Wow, that is super, super amazing. Awesome. Well, I want to leave enough time for questions from the audience here today, but I just wanted to say, like, just like wow at everything you guys are doing. Like, I've been following you guys on Twitter, but just like seeing everything just now, I'm like, this is like freaking cool. Do you know what I mean? Like, I haven't seen anything like this yet when it comes to NFTs on the IC, and you guys are true trailblazers and pioneers. Like, I am so excited for what's to come. And um, as you know, I'm like organizing this NFT art gallery next week in New York City, where I am based right now. And if you guys want to submit any art for it, would love to showcase it. I'll DM you on Twitter after.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Cool. That'd be exciting.
Awesome. Cool. So let's get started with the questions today. So the first question in the Q&A box. So I think this person is saying, after your NFT release, why do you think that community members will continue to stay with the project? And are you going to ask for a grant from the Dfinity Foundation?
So, maybe as we start to get into some other things, we might go and apply for a grant and see how that works out. As far as the future benefits of being an owner of an IC Ghost scene or an IC Ghost avatar as well, we've announced to our Discord community, as well as I think on Twitter, that all original owners of an IC Ghost avatar, so if you buy an IC Ghost scene and you keep that IC Ghost, you will be part of, so every future NFT release that we do will allocate 10% of that men count to airdrop to IC Ghost, to original IC Ghost avatar owners, right? So so you'll be part of that pool to potentially get some future ones. And then, as well as any IC Ghost avatar, whether you're the original owner or on the secondary market, will get a 10% discount on future collections as well. And then, of course, earlier we mentioned the merch, right? And so we'll keep trying to bring things like that to really bring value to those who are supporting us.
Cool, awesome. And I also do have to say that I feel like you guys have done such a great job with the community building, as evidenced by the audience today and how excited people are in the chat, and just like the amazing art that you've created. So kudos for that. That's really difficult to do.
Yeah, that's actually my passion, is team building. And this has certainly been next level team building for me.
I know.
A global, a 24/7 global community, in Discord. That's next level team building.
Oh my God, I know, because I've been like in a non-Discord mod for like other NFT projects, and it is a full-time job.
For sure.
And there's like a lot of like questions you get where it's like, just read like the announcements channel.
Exactly.
That's how it goes. Cool. So next question. I think you've answered this in the talk, but just to recap for the audience here today. So what do you think are the main features of this project that you're launching, which distinguishes you among, the NFT ecosystem on the IC?
Yeah, well, I guess first of all, it's 3D, right? So we're bringing 3D. We're bringing 3D wearables, right? Composability of 3D, as well as editing, interactive, right? So making the scenes interactive, as you saw. This isn't actually the renderer that will be. This is a development tool that we've got.
Yeah, totally.
But you'll be able to do the same things. So the interactive aspect of it, as well as being able to edit your scenes and change your scenes, eventually editing the objects themselves to resize them, move them, things like that. And so yeah, I guess that's probably it for the IC Ghost. But we'll continue, like I said, we'll continue to innovate and push the limits of what people are doing.
Okay, awesome. So next question, it's more of like a logistical question of like what you had explained around like rearranging the items. Like how does that work? You know, like I think that's probably going to, from what I understand, that's a future feature, right? So it's like, let's say I buy the NFT, like in the web, am I able to like arrange everything around? Is like a platform I have to go to do it?
Yeah, so that'll be in the renderer editor in the
Oh,
web.
okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
so in the web, and that's something that Tonic Labs, the great folks over there are doing, is helping us integrate that into into Entrepot and Stoic, is to integrate that capability. And so there's a really, there's a lot of complexity behind doing that, right? To be able to take and allow somebody to change the attributes of their scene and resave that off, on chain, to be stored so that when they reload that NFT later, that object that they moved is in the right place. So there's a lot of complexities, a lot of technical challenges
Totally.
to be solved there. And but that's kind of one of the hallmarks of what we're trying to do is solve new technical problems.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think this is just so phenomenal what you guys are doing, and we're one step closer, to this like true metaverse concept. So, next question. Do you think there's a tie-in with 3D NFTs and the future of AR, such as with the Oculus device, and how do you foresee mainstream usage?
Yeah, I don't know. You want to talk about that?
I mean, obviously, like we have AR now. I think it's interesting that people can use their NFTs in AR. I personally haven't really seen any, like, I know like Minecraft came out with a AR game or something, but I don't think it really caught on. So I don't see much use in AR. I think VR is definitely more um, used and more just accepted as kind of what people do. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Because this kind of thing is like totally immersive. So I feel like VR is probably a more like obvious choice for this kind of stuff. So next question. Are there plans for collaboration with these IC3D NFTs where multiple people can rearrange the same scene?
Um, what have people share, I guess is the question, to have people
Right.
share
The ownership.
their their NFTs into a single scene. That's an interesting concept. We'll have to think about that one. That's a
No,
different challenge that maybe we could look at.
I know, one step at a time, right? First the launch, then everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think people are just excited about what this has to offer. So the next question, will the 8-year gang hat ship worldwide?
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll it should ship anywhere. We don't have that all completely set up yet. So like I explained earlier, at some point we'll take a snapshot of who has the 8-year gang hat. So, initially the 8-year gang hats will come somewhat, randomly. People will have 8-year gang hats that maybe don't care so much about the 8-year gang hat. And so maybe they'll go trade that, and other people who want an 8-year gang hat will get that. So we'll give some time for people to get their 8-year gang hats, and then we'll take a snapshot, and then we'll send out redemption codes to those folks, and they'll be able to go to a merch store and be able to get that redeemed and sent to them.
Okay, for sure. Yeah. So merch is like always a really tricky concept. I know that, like working at Definity, because especially when it's international shipping, like stuff
Yeah.
gets lost or stuck in customs. So
Yeah.
if there's any way you can like kind of like push that off to like a third party to completely handle, that's the route I would recommend.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at, as a drop shipper. Yeah.
Exactly. So next question, do you think there will ever be 3D renders of existing 2D NFTs on the IC?
IC emojis. It's not actually taking, that 2D.
Exactly,
we're not exactly, but we're basically taking, in collaboration with Visions, we're bringing 3D IC emojis. So yeah, there's certainly opportunity to take NFTs that are original, 2D and start to bring them into the third dimension.
Cool. So we're just rounding up the last couple of questions here in the chat. So somebody from the community is asking, what's the first thing we're going to see with this Visions IC emoji collaboration?
So we'll start dropping some sneak peeks. We have largely the first set complete in terms of the IC emoji itself. We've got some other surprises that I won't reveal here that'll make it really cool. So but yeah, we'll start dropping some sneak peeks.
Cool. We're all looking forward to it. And there's the next question, but I think you guys have already answered it in the Q&A. So the question is around, NFTs are a very popular thing nowadays. How do you make sure that IC3D NFT can stand out? But I think you've outlined that in terms of like being 3D and composable and, editable and all of these things that I think are just totally unique, not even on the IC, but just with the NFT landscape overall. Next question, will Entrepot be launching? So I think the question is around, will this be like a new collection that's listed on Entrepot?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. It'll be an IC Ghost collection.
Okay. And the name of the collection is IC Ghost or IC3D?
IC Ghost. So IC3D NFT is the name of our company, and IC Ghost is this collection.
Okay. And have you already announced like what the price is going to be for the ghosts?
We have 2 ICP.
Okay. I'm asking that because one of the questions is, why did you choose 2 ICP instead of 1 ICP as the list price?
Yeah. We think we're bringing a lot of value. And so we actually did, a focus group study, and actually the focus group study came back with a higher price. It was 3 something.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it was 3 something, out of the focus group, and we felt like we wanted to give a lot of people an opportunity to buy into some history making. We think we're making a bit of IC history certainly here, right? 3D, interactive 3D, and the various things that we've talked about, as well as the large drop of NFTs. When you look at the total items themselves, it's a 60,000 NFT
totally.
drop in total. So some history being made. We wanted to give people an opportunity to be a part of that, and we didn't want to price too high. Yeah,
I completely agree with you. It's always a little bit tricky because it's like, I know a lot of work goes into this kind of thing, but it's also, you have to consider the community and, not everyone, people live in different countries around the world, right? And people are earning like different levels of income. So you do want to make it accessible for everyone else. I'm just looking at your sweater, Brian. It's a Banff, right? You should create a concept called Ban NFT, like a scene in Banff, but like for the ghost or for a future project.
All right.
Cool. So some free ideas. I got a lot of them. Where it came from. Cool. So I know we're coming up on time. I know you guys are super busy with everything. In anticipation for the launch on Friday. So I won't keep you any longer. But big thanks to Brian and Josh for all of the cool stuff that you're doing. Love to see it. I am going to put a reminder on my calendar for 1 p.m. ET this Friday to be able to buy one of the ghosts. Thank you so much to the community for tuning in as always, and for your amazing questions, amazing camaraderie in the chat. And I will see you guys all next time at a future community conversation. Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye.
Bye.